Well, and welcome to the studio today. A special guest, Rebecca Jones, is with us with the Beekeepers of the Noose. Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming in. Beekeeping, that's a very popular hobby now. More and more people becoming interested in beekeeping and getting involved with beekeeping. What inspired you to become a beekeeper, and how would you describe it?
I kind of fell into it a little bit unknowingly. My brother actually gave me a beekeeping suit for Christmas my Christmas present.
You mean with the mask and the hat and all that?
Yes, he was interested in it, and I'm interested in anything science, and so he showed up Christmas with a beekeeping suit and informed me that he had ordered me a nuke and that it would come in a couple of weeks.
I know. What is a nuke?
A nuke, well, I had to find all that stuff out too.
Yeah.
A nuke is where you have a queen, and she comes in a box with about 10 to 12,000 attendants, bees, to get her started. It comes in the mail from the post office.
Really?
Or you can pick it up from beekeepers that raise them, but mine came in through the post office. And all of a sudden, I figured I better find out very quickly about it. So I knew that there was a beekeeper near where I lived, Bill Thering.
Oh, sure.
Yes, he has a house, and you could just ride by it and you see all these boxes in the front. So I went the only place I knew where to go, and I showed up at his house, and I said, I've got some bees coming, and here's the equipment that I've bought. What do I do? And he said, well, have you taken the class? I said, no. He said, well, are you a certified beekeeper? I'm like, no. He said, sit down. And so he was very gracious and helped me get everything together. So when they came in, I was able to put the queen and the nuke into my hive, and I made every mistake that you can possibly make. And thank goodness the bees know more about what they're doing than I did. And so they were able to grow, and actually within 2 months we were splitting my hive. And it was a very strong queen.
Okay.
And so, the Beekeepers of the Noose have a club. They meet the second Monday of each month over at the Wayne Center, Agriculture Extension Agency. We meet there at 7:15, and we have classes that we teach in January, and we have events that we put on throughout the year, and the one coming up is the National Honeybee Day.
Okay, National Honeybee Day is coming up. When we did this is the second year we've done this, I believe, right? Did this last year, and I believe Donald went out there, didn't you? Yeah, and he took some great pictures. We showed that on TV, and it's exciting that it's coming back again. I want to find out more about this. Beekeepers of the Noose. Here's the logo behind us here, and this is an organization that's growing very quickly. A lot of members in this.
We have a very diverse group of people that are interested in it. We have teenagers up through people easily into their 70s, and men and women. Some people want honey. Some people want to be a pollinator. A lot of our members team up with local farmers, and they'll take the hives out to the farms, because honeybees pollinate 80% of all the fruits and vegetables that we eat.
Yeah, and as I recall the story, there was some big concern that the virus or the parasite that was attacking our bees here was in the news a couple of years ago and continues to be a problem, that this was a concern because if we don't have the bees to pollinate the plants, we don't eat. It's that simple.
Albert Einstein said one time, if the bees die, humans have 4 years to live.
Well, that's about right.
Honey is an exciting food. It contains all the substances that somebody needs to live, and a lot of people use it to help with their stomachs, to help with allergies. It's not just, it tastes wonderful, and local raw honey is so much better than what you would buy in the store. It's not regulated as much, and a lot of times it's cut in with corn syrup and different things in it, even though it will say just honey as an ingredient in it.
And before we went on, we were talking about honey. It's the only food that doesn't spoil.
Doesn't spoil. It has been found in the tombs of the pharaohs, and it was still edible when it was recovered.
What I would want to know is who would eat from a jar of honey they found that's been there for 6,000 or 8,000 years. Not I. But
Yeah.
that's another story.
But it's interesting
It is
that
interesting.
it doesn't spoil.
It doesn't spoil.
There are times when it can get a little granulated, but then you heat it up just a little bit and it goes right back to its
Yeah.
natural state.
So again, Beekeepers of the Noose is a local organization. Over 100 and how many? Over
Over
150
100 members.
Well
in it.
over 100 members.
And we've only been around for a few years.
Yeah.
We have a phenomenal president in Bill Thering, and he just has incredible leadership skills, and his knowledge base about honeybees and insects, and even he has the equipment. He has the woodenware that he builds himself. He's just really a phenomenal man. His wife Elaine, they do a whole lot to get this group going.
So where does the honey come from? I mean, the bees go out and they get down in these flowers and they get stuff on their feet and they bring it to another flower and then there's pollination and something takes place. Where does the honey come from?
The plants actually have nectar in them, and the purpose of a plant having nectar is actually to attract the bees. So the bees will go and they will go to many, many flowers and they will drink the nectar in, and they actually have a special stomach in their body called a honey stomach. And they will put the nectar in that stomach. They will pollinate because they have little hairs all over their bodies. And as they groom themselves, they push the pollen that comes from the plants in these little pollen sacs on the back of their legs. And it's just really cool. You can stand in front of your hive, and when they first take off, they do imprinting. They spend 3 weeks in the hive, and then the last 3 weeks of their lives, they're out foraging. They can actually, with the brain the size of a sesame seed,
Right.
can
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well.
they can imprint, and they go up on their first flight, and they have 2 compound eyes and 3 simple eyes, and they can figure out where they are. They will go off 2 miles as far as, well, if they find their sources closer, they're
Yeah,
not going to go
yeah.
2 miles, but they can easily travel 2 miles, go from flower to flower. They're filling up their honey stomach, they're filling up the pollen, they're pollinating the plants as they go, and they come back to the hive, and you can stand in front of the hive, and you've got these bees, and they are laden down. They are heavy because their stomach is full of the nectar.
Wow.
They've got the pollen all over, and they come in, and they want to land on the bottom board of their hive, and they walk in, and you can tell which plants they are pollinating by the color of the pollen on the back of their legs. And it's
Really?
just neat. And then they've got the other bees waiting for them to come back, and they regurgitate, or offload what they have in their stomach.
Offload is bad.
And they will take the pollen out, and the hive bees that are taking care of the hive at that time, they're the first 3-week-old bees, and they will store it into the hexagon shapes that everybody's familiar with.
honeycomb.
The honeycomb
Yeah.
that they build themselves.
Wow.
It's cool.
That is really interesting.
They're
It
neat.
is.
They're one of the most studied insects.
I can believe that.
And
And some people do quite well with bees because there are trucks that travel across the country in farming communities that have nothing but beehives, and these bee carriers, I guess, will go to the farms and then release the bees.
yep, millions of bees are trucked just to California. Hundreds of millions of bees are trucked to California just to pollinate the almond grove, because they are only pollinated by bees. Then they move them upstate to pollinate apple orchards. And you'll lose right many bees doing that, but they do make a good living off of doing
Wow.
that.
That is a big business.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a lot to learn about bees.
They're one of the most studied insects
Yeah.
that there is. They've been studied for thousands of years. There's cave paintings that have bees and hives and stuff painted on the inside of caves.
Yeah. Now, why are people afraid of bees? Do bees actually attack you?
Bees will defend themselves if they feel threatened, but no, they
Okay.
aren't interested in attacking. They have such a short lifespan. All they really care about is trying to collect the pollen and the nectar and get it back, even though they will not live to see the results of it. Bees born this time of year only live 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
And they work themselves to death.
Well, that's too. Well, yeah, I can understand that.
Well,
That's
and then
too
the
bad.
fall, the girls kick the guys out.
Yeah, I
so,
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the wintertime, the only purpose of the bees is to keep the queen safe and to regulate the temperature of the hive. So the ones that are born later in the fall, they actually live until the springtime.
Oh, okay.
But during this time of year, you will go out to your hives and you can see bees that have struggled to try and make it back and just don't quite make it all the way in.
Oh. Well, those that live through the winter, now are they able to pollinate? Do they find winter growing plants and pollinate those? Or?
Once the temperature gets low enough, they like to stay inside.
Oh yeah, me too.
And until it's time to start over again with the brood system. But you were asking about the stings that people
I did, yes, thank you.
It's me.
No.
I get distracted. The honeybees, they have guard bees that stay guard at the entrance of the hives.
Right.
And if they hear a loud noise, or especially if they see what they consider to be a predator, yes, they will try to defend their hives. Just like if somebody tried to break into your house, you're going to defend yourself. But they have a barb, the workers, the girls, have a barb on the end of their stinger. So if they sting you, it's not like a bumblebee or a wasp or a hornet. They sting once and it rips, the stinger rips part of their abdomen off and they end up dying.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is.
What a way to go.
It is. But most of the people around here get Italian queens, and they tend to be a gentler breed of bees.
Okay.
And most of the time I can go into my hive and not even put on equipment or veils.
Really?
If the temperature's good outside, during the day you've got half of the hive gone foraging.
Yeah.
So instead of having 60,000 bees in there, you only have about 30,000 that you're working with.
Only 30,000?
Only 30,000. A healthy hive has about 60,000 bees in it.
Whoa.
And they typically, when you go to extract, if you're calm and they're calm, they can sit on your finger. Sometimes if you get honey on your finger, they'll sit right on your finger and drink the honey off of your finger. They're just really neat animals, insects.
Do you name them?
No.
Just wondering.
No.
You know.
We mark the queen,
Okay.
so it's easier to find her. And
Okay. How do you mark her?
with a dab of paint.
Oh, really?
Yes. Every year they have a different color designated for the queens. So you will know by looking at the color that she is marked how old she is, because she is usually good 2 to 3 years, and then her pheromones will start going, and they'll either try to make a new queen or off with her head.
Yes, off with her head. This is fascinating, and unfortunately we are out of time, but I wanted to talk again about the event coming up at Waynesboro Park on what day?
It is Saturday, August 16th,
Saturday,
and it's going to be
16th.
from 9 till 3.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of other neat people that are coming out that are interested similar to honey bees. We've got backyard chickens, where people are going to bring their chickens with the mobile coops.
Really?
And we're going to have the North Carolina antique farm equipment people.
Oh, really?
There's some really neat guys.
Love that, yeah.
They bring their equipment out and share their expertise in that with everybody.
Wow.
We're going to have an observation hive out where the people can come and look at the bees. It's for all the members of the family. We're going to have face painting for kids. We're going to have candle dipping. We've got Starlight Farms is going to bring goats out.
Oh boy.
We had people last year from Wake County, Johnston, Lenore, and so we were trying to expand a little bit. The master gardeners are going to be there.
Oh, they are great.
They are wonderful.
Yes.
They'll tell us about plants that attract the honeybees. They are going to also have the soil kits there. So if anybody wants to have their soil tested, the Extension Agency will test your soil free through November of this year.
Right.
And so you can go, they will answer questions about fertilizers. It's going to be a really good event.
That is a big event, a lot of things going on, and it's August 16th, that's a Saturday, from 9 until 3 at Waynesboro Park, right?
Yes.
Wow. Rebecca Jones, thank you so much for being here. That's a great topic. You got to come back and talk to us more about this.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.